not many people in the world get to achieve that level of their dream, because it felt like my life had just gone like that. I'll never top that night, and I think it's important for me to know that. Andy Scott asked me on Sky Sports after, like, how do you top this? And I was like, I never felt sad that was it. I think maybe since I might have done a couple of times.
Today we have another guest making their second appearance on the show deck.
We do.
And for very special reasons. Of course, this guy came on the show and since then has gone on to become champion of the world. WBO World Cruiserweight Champion of the World is, of course, the gentleman. What's your name again, mate? Chris Billam Smith.
Such a gentleman. It's taken him how many months to come on here and talk about this? Months and months, been letting us down, keeping us on the end.
I'm not sure about that.
He's been taking his time, kissing babies, waving at grannies, helping them across the road. You know, now he's the champion. He's in incredible demand. So
it's quite sad I didn't get the memo about the hoodies.
Yeah, well, I feel like we're interviewing you.
Yeah,
maybe we'll just flip it.
What do you want to know?
You got win a world title, Dave.
Yeah, get a hoodie.
Get the hoodie.
Yeah,
or you can buy one on the link tree.
Yes, you can.
You can't buy this one, not the black one.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
no, that's limited edition.
Yeah, I mean, it is better, to be honest.
Yeah,
nice.
better than it. Wait, is it? Don't say that, because they can buy the grey one still. They're still available. XL's back in stock, and the hats. Chris is back in the club, and we've got a new setting. Like the first time we were in the old studio. Now, big time.
Yeah, I had to do my hair today, as you can see.
Yeah, I didn't.
On camera this time.
Yeah.
Last time it was audio only. But no, thanks for having me on. It's, as always, an honour to be on. And got some... Didn't bring the jewellery with me, but forgot to bring it with me. But yeah.
Well,
got the hoodie though.
We got a line bike in, so...
I did get a line bike in. It's the first time I've got a line bike deck. I thought,
yeah, influence.
Wow.
That's the first time.
Had to get one today.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to see Deck.
How did you find it?
Yeah, good.
Was it smooth? No issues?
George found it, but
two pedals? Everything working order?
smooth. I've never ever been on an electric bike.
It's nice, isn't it? A little booster.
Yeah, I was like, pressed it, and I was like, George was like out in front of me. I was like, flew past because he wasn't on the.
That's
he was
West
on his
London
own
bike.
bike.
You get proper. Oh, you were on a normal bike.
Yeah, he was on his own bike. He was
unlucky, mate.
putting in the CV. I
I
pedalled probably,
Zone
I
two.
reckon, a tenth of the pedals that George did.
Yeah. And look how fresh you look for it as well. Speaking of the belt, where'd you keep it?
It's actually up. It went up the other day in the house. We've bought a house last year, which we completed on the day of the weigh-in of the Isaac Chamberlain fight. Finally moved in about a month ago, so we've been renovating it. My wife's an interior designer; she's done a phenomenal job. So we've got like an extension and like a TV unit with like a library sort of around it, like carpentry around it. And there's like some holes in the top which needed filling, so I stuck my belt up there.
Belt shaped.
And basically I had it out the other day for something. I was going to one of my sponsors, an event with them, and then had it in, and so I thought I'll stick it up, see what it looks like. And then since then, Mia's put up my other belts, my Commonwealth, my European. Obviously, I didn't get to
You put them on the wall as well?
Well, she did. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
They'll come down as soon as we need storage.
Shout out the Commonwealth Boxing Union.
Yeah. Shout out Commonwealth.
Box of the year.
And the
And like Mia, your partner, your wife, who's an interior designer, has she colour coordinated the room before you won the belt or since you've won the belt?
No, unfortunately, I think that.
Or is she trying to paint your belt a different colour?
The
burgundy.
The joinery's all like green, so it kind of goes with it. So
right. See what she's got in mind.
Contrast.
Yeah, because WBO is burgundy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a burgundy
Yeah.
colour. So obviously Mia wants. A lot of the house is green and brass or gold. So maybe she's got.
Oh, Badu Jack in her sights.
Shout out Marisa.
Yeah. Where did you keep your belts? Let's talk the WBA one when you got it.
The
nice black belt. Lovely, no karate.
Yeah, lovely. It comes in this really cool case, and it lives in a case underneath the sofa in a spare room in the study.
That's what mine had done till last week.
Yeah.
Then I know where it is. Not that I remember to take it out and take it places.
Stick it in the line bike basket.
But yeah, it would work. It would work. We didn't even think of that, did we? Yeah.
Did
I
you
haven't got it up on the wall. No.
Did you get it on the night?
Nah, I got Lawrence's one on the night.
So let's talk us through this, because I always think this is fascinating. So Lawrence turns up as the champion with his belt. Is that his one?
Yeah, so his one has his name on it. So I have like his name, his nickname, what weight. And on WBO, they call it junior heavyweight rather than cruiserweight. So it's a junior heavyweight, 200 pounds. Then on the other side, it will have where the date he won it and where he won it. So that was his one. And I obviously boxed on the same show as him when he won.
In the bubble, wasn't it?
Yeah, in Wembley Arena against Kovacsy, March 20th, I think that was. But then usually, obviously, you have a few photos, a few interviews, and then give the belt back. But I got stitched up, did a press conference, did a drugs test. It was 2:30 in the morning. He'd left, and I hadn't given his belt back yet, and I felt really bad. And then I ended up giving it to his strength coach a couple of weeks later. So I had it for a couple of weeks, and yeah, not ideal because I don't really, that's his belt. He's earned that. But yeah, they eventually sent me mine probably about 4 weeks after the fight, maybe 3-4 weeks after the fight, with a full range of gear. So you get like a gym bag, nice. WBO gym bag, WBO tracksuit, WBO t-shirts, WBO bottle openers, pens, books. What else is there? All the patches.
That's that's even more exciting than the belt.
Yeah, I thought the full tracksuit, and I've seen a video of Teofimo Lopez wearing his full tracksuit, like dancing in some video. I was like, what a legend! Get mine out, and I love a full tracksuit. I'm a sucker
as well.
I'm a sucker for a tracksuit. So I haven't worn it out yet. I should have worn it.
Yeah, full kit wanker. You should have done that.
It's like world champion down the sleeve and everything.
Nice,
that's brilliant.
Nice, that sounds great. I don't think I've got that on my belt in terms of like this is your belt with a name and that on the side. I don't think WBA do that.
Did you have to give, because that sounds
mine
like...
was vacant, so maybe because I didn't have to wait for my belt. I got it on the night. I think because it was vacant and it stayed with me. Maybe that's why it doesn't have any
stuff on it.
Yeah, so if it wasn't vacant, I could send it engraved. Back. I like it as it is. To be honest,
you don't want like the date and.
It's like if you get a new watch and someone's engraved the inside, you devalue it really. Not the odds is devalued, but if you want to stick it on,
you carry on.
What are you gonna do?
On vintage,
eBay
it on vintage.
You're gonna sell your WBA belt.
I'd just like to know what it's worth. Do you know what I mean? I won't sell it,
So,
but I'd like to know it's worth more.
If it's got your name on it, I'd pay more for it.
Yeah,
maybe.
Good point. Otherwise, it's just any old belt.
Just put GGBC on it.
Yeah,
could do. We're gonna bring out our own range of belts
and tracksuits.
People keep bumping into me and telling us that we are the number one boxing podcast in the country now.
Is that just at home? Keep bumping into your family.
just
telling me
my youngest.
Say it again.
My youngest telling me. I can't even. No, but if that is the case, there should. I mean, why is there not a belt out there for it?
I've always found that must be the biggest insult to injury, or maybe it's not. But having to hand your belt over to the person who's just beaten you, like Lawrence, having to like leave without a belt, literally, because you need it for photos because you're the new champ.
But I think it's the other way around. I think someone giving you your belt back feels like
that's stinking.
I feel muggy doing it, but you know it's the right thing to do. Yeah. But you feel like, here's your belt back, mate. After I just won it off you, like you feel like muggy. Like, here's your belt for when you were champion. Like you feel muggy doing it. So you have to do it.
So say in Saudi, do you give that belt goes to the commission then? You don't have to hand it over. Lawrence can give it to you. It's like ringside, isn't it? And someone just
the WBO official gave it to me in the ring, and then I forgot to get. Well, I didn't really get a chance. I was just rushed off everywhere.
Yeah, never computed that actually, because you bring your belt so that if you don't bring your belt, you might forget your belt. But you bring your belt. So
I've turned up to venues a lot of times, like Commonwealth, and British and European belts. I forgot all of them on one occasion at least, and I've had to send someone back from like when I was obviously with Matchroom, like to go and get it. But it's in this room, like it's in my room. Like you have to go back.
At least they're in the room.
That's why you
during the bubble. Yeah, someone's got weight.
I want to know what it feels like. That feeling. Can you put it into words? And now the dust has settled, because you know what it feels like. How do you put into words that feeling of like achieving everything you ever wanted to, and in the setting that you did it was phenomenal. Like Roy of the Rover stuff, a tiny fraction of boxers will ever get that, and it happened for you. What did it feel like?
Yeah, I mean, in the moment it was just crazy.
Yeah,
obviously burst into tears. Just because it was just perfect. Like, just burst into tears. Obviously, then Mia gets in the ring, gives me a massive hug whilst I'm on my knees, and I'm just asking her, like, what's just happened? Because it felt like my life had just gone like that. And like all the hard work had just gone so quick. Here I am, and I've achieved my ultimate dream, which is to win a world title at the stadium. So it's hard to, people like ask me what it feels like. I'm like, well, imagine being like a little kid. I mean, I wasn't a little kid when I had this dream, but I was, late teens when I started boxing. But like, imagine achieving your ultimate dream. Like most people, it's like, I don't know, win the World Cup as captain of England for football, whatever. And that was my ultimate dream when I was a young kid.
Still time, mate.
Yeah, just I won't be scoring own goals, but we'll bring that up another day. And like, just everyone has different dreams, but like for me, it was my ultimate dream. Like, and it's like the pinnacle. Like, I'll never top that night, but I'm still very motivated. But I'll never top that night. And I think it's important for me to know that rather than try and chase bigger things. Otherwise, I think I'll just end up going off the rails. Not that I, drink or do drugs or anything like that, but I think it'd be really hard mentally to keep chasing that feeling and that. I think motivation just changes. But yeah, so it's just it's basically that. Like, I've won a world title at AFC Bournemouth. In front of everyone I needed to be there. Like, everything was perfect about it. Getting out the ring, I got to hug my mum, my dad, my brothers, my mate who got me into boxing. I went round the ring. I saw a guy who used to give me a lift back from my amateur club, which used to take me about an hour and a half on a bus. But after the sessions, I get an hour and a half bus there, and on the way back, he'd give me a lift, even though it was completely opposite direction for him. He'd go like an hour out of his way there and back to give me a lift home. And I saw him, and I was like, and he's from like Stoke, so he bought a ticket to come down.
He just loves driving, this guy.
And he's a legend.
You saw him?
I saw him on the ring, walking back from the ring to the change rooms. And then the last person I saw was my amateur coach. And that was just such a special, he just shouted Chris. I just looked to my left. And he was like, gave me a massive hug. He goes, you did it. And I was just like, that was perfect. Like, just to see him, he's like the first person who instills that belief in you. Travelled up and down the country for free with me. We've spent hours and hours in the car driving to Peterborough or Liverpool or, all these places just for me to box for anywhere between 6 to 9 minutes at a time. Do you know what I mean? And we'd spend days away from his family and stuff. So I've always had so much respect for him, and obviously helped me get to the position where I got obviously a chance to work with Shane, and and he got to see him. So like, everything about it was perfect. Like, there's nothing. The only thing you would change is like a last round dramatic knockout, but that's so minor in the grand scheme of things. But everything about it was just perfect, and I know it can't be topped, and I'm appreciative of that. But like I said, still so motivated for what's next.
Tell us about the fight, Chris. We've all seen the fight. But tell us what you was thinking and feeling throughout the fight. Like, even can we go right back to the first bell? Before the first bell, what are you thinking and feeling?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we had a chat probably about 8 weeks out. You were like, this fight can change your life. Like, zone in. Like, it's not just another fight. And that was quite important actually to me. Like, because I sometimes try and just take every fight as it's just another fight. But you're right to say it to me. And sometimes people get motivated in different ways. And I think I kind of needed that, like, just to give me that little bit extra. And then you take that all the way to fight week. And it's like, obviously I was ill on fight week, but sort of better by the Friday, Saturday. Not 100%, but better. But then on the Friday, we did a ring walk rehearsal. So I did the weigh-in. And I did the ring walk rehearsal. And before it, I went and sat in my old season ticket seat, which I had in the stadium, and just looked out on the pitch and thought, this is mental. And like, those things are important to me for fight night, because I don't want to go into the stadium for the first time and see it all, like my whole dream's just there. And I'm like, and the first time I see it is me doing my ring walk. Like, I've got to visualize it. I've got to do all those things, which I usually do on fight day anyway. Like, you go to stadium or the venue and do a little sort of walk through the ring walk. But yeah, that was important for me emotionally to get over that, because for me it's like I said, it's my ultimate dream just to fill a stadium, home stadium, and fight for a world title. So then it gets to fight night, and I was just zoned in. Like, got to the venue very relaxed. You came in beforehand as well, didn't you? You came before and after, I think.
Came before the fight.
Yeah.
But quite
Well, I was gloved
close.
up.
You was gloved up then.
Yeah. So I was zoned in then. But before, like, just there was a massage bench in there. I was like, dragged that out into the middle of the changing room, laid on that for a bit, and just chilled, and just in that sense took it as not another fight, but like just the process of part of the night. Not like thinking like, okay, right, this is it. Like, not getting nervous at all. And it was just about being zoned in. And then when it was time to wrap up and get switched on, that, you know, it's just doing all my hands wrapped with Shane, my warm up stuff with Ben Carraway, and then the pad work with Shane to warm up more, and then they've planned to do the knock on the door because they had the videotape beforehand, and then just did my ring walk, and I was just like, didn't want to think about how good the atmosphere was or anything like that. Just walking down the side of the pitch towards the stage, just zoned in. Then I walk onto the pitch, and then I just thought, I kind of want to appreciate it, like in terms of like, I don't know, feed off the energy a bit. And I just look round and just nod. Like, if you watched it back, I look to my right towards the ring and I just nod like let's do this. And then gets on to the stage, and I'm like, wait for the chorus of Hometown Glory to kick back in and walk up the steps, and then fireworks are off, hands up in the air, etc. Obviously then Nonny, who sings Red Army, kicks in, and then Kano, which is always my ring walk. And then I'm just laser focus in the zone, get in the ring, and then Lawrence keeps me waiting for a bit when he's announced. So I planned for that already, because inside my robe I had a fleece lining. So Through Dark do, like, my sponsor, who design my kits.
Shout out Through Dark.
Massive shout out Through Dark. They always, you know, provide me all my stuff, but they design my kits. And when we were designing it, I was like, I need some fleece, because that stadium, I know what it gets like, even in summer, it's cold, like at night. And I was like, Annie, I reckon he's going to keep me waiting. So we got what they make is like outdoor clothing, and their fleece, they got the Phalanx fleece they do, sent it off to Fight Label, and they lined it with the fleece. So I was like, no, nice and toasty in the ring after my warm up.
It's just melting. Hurry up, Lawrence.
I mean, it wasn't even a cold night in there, to be fair, was it? It wasn't like
wasn't for you, not with that Through Dark fleece.
But no, I was So like, all those little minor details people probably don't think about, but that was like another key thing, because I was like, by the time I get outside and into the ring, I would have warmed up anything for, like, by the time I'm actually in the ring, maybe like 8 minutes. Then by the time Lawrence gets in the ring, I'm looking like 15, 20 minutes. And then before the fight actually starts, another 5 minutes, you got the national anthem. So yeah, when Lawrence kept me waiting, I'm like walking around the ring and doing a bit of shadow boxing here and there. And then I looked at Shane and said, as expected. And he was like, what? And I was like, as expected, as in like he's keeping us waiting. He's like, oh yeah, of course. Like, because this is what I said to him. I said, he's going to keep me waiting. I know he will. And he did. And then obviously did his ring walk. And for me, the whole night was just about staying calm, like cool, calm, collected throughout. Comes out, most rounds tries to throw like a big right hand, whether that's a straight right hand. Not the first round he didn't. First round he sort of shifts off to his right, and I'll just walk round to my right and just trying to stay away from the right hand. And then first 3 rounds, he maybe give me one of the rounds, but being harsh on the scoring, you give them all to him. But for me, it was always, Shane even says it, like, get past these, I think he says it at the end of the second round. He says, you know, couple more rounds and then you'll start getting to him. And then obviously towards the end of the 4th round, I drop him with that shot. So yeah, that was my thoughts through the beginning, but I stayed real calm, even though I was like 3 rounds down. I've said it before in a couple of interviews, like, people probably thought I bottled it at that point. Like, even yourself might have thought of, like, oh, he's bottled this because, like, he's 3 rounds down and he doesn't look like he's trying to do anything or whatever. But like, I just knew the time would come and I could feel think after the second round, I even said he's fallen apart to Shane in the corner, because I could already see him start making the mistakes. I knew he's like falling in with his left hook and things like that. And it was just about being patient and waiting for that. And then obviously the fourth round, he throws a left hook to the head and I drop back and throw a 1-2, don't really land much. Then he throws a left hook to the body and I drop back again and shift and throw the shot that drops him. And that sort of just turned the fight after that. He was just panicking because, one, he was fighting out of himself. He was falling apart anyway. And then he's been dropped. And then obviously, fifth round, he had a point taken off. And then he's like falling apart even more because he's like, he just doesn't like engaging. He doesn't back himself in close quarters, so he has to hold. And if he's not knocking you out, which or hurting you, which he wasn't, then he has no other plan B. It's either knock him out with big shots or hit him and hold. So yeah, obviously doesn't really have very much more to his game. Obviously very effective at that, but when you know and you're strong enough to deal with it, you can sort of outmuscle him. And there's plenty of shots like don't really get noticed, I think, unless you really watch your back and focus, but I'm hurting him a lot. Buzzing with a couple of jabs later on in the fight. Short left hooks on the inside, keep dropping back and firing. Not throwing enough combinations. But and then obviously the fight unfolds the way it did.
So, I mean, I didn't think you bottled it. What, did you say you bottled it?
Oh yeah, I said he's bottled it.
I didn't think you bottled it.
He's fucking blown it. All of this build up and look what he's done.
So
no, I knew I knew the score.
We knew the score, yeah. So the
3-0 to Lawrence.
Yeah. I didn't think he was going to win them first few rounds, but I didn't think that. I thought I thought
it's part of the plan. Yeah.
Part of the plan, isn't it? You know, it's not the end of the world. That's not. It's not essential to your strategy. Talk about the shot, like the shot that drops Lawrence. Like, is that something that he was working on in camp? Is it something that he was planned to land? You've always been good with the left hook, especially at that sort of short range. And then tell us about the feeling of dropping the guy, dropping the champion at that moment. What floods your brain?
Well, like the shot itself, like I've been working a lot and coiling up and delivering like through my hips, like with Shane, but also with Ben Caraway in my strength sessions. Obviously, Shane's drilled shots for years with me, and every fight will work on certain shots. But yeah, I think it's at the end of round 3, Shane's like, you've got to start dropping back more. And then I dropped back twice that round, and the second time I drop back and then attack him and land the shot. So, Shane's listening to Shane obviously works, as me and you both know. And the shot itself, it was obviously Lawrence a bit off balance, and that like left hook him. He always dips down that way when he goes backwards as well. So I think obviously it's instinctive, and you're not necessarily planning that on the pads, but where the position his head's in, like it's hard to land the right hand unless you're really looping it over. And I've got a good left hook anyway, so like the shot selection wise, it made sense to call that shot up and sort of lift off the floor with it. Similar to the way Inoue knocked out Fulton, like dropped him with that like leaping left hook. Then he goes down, and then it wasn't until I watched it back I thought to myself, like, who is that in there? Like looking at myself, because when remove myself from being the boxer and I'm just the kid who loves boxing, who wants to be a world champion one day, and I'm like, how's he stayed so calm? Because like, if that's me in there dropping a world champion in his dream venue in front of all these people with an unbelievable atmosphere, how like, and all I did is like drop him, and then I think I have to step over his leg or to like adjust and walk back to the corner, and just like calm.
It's discipline at that point, would you say? Like,
yeah, I think it's just the visualization of me dropping him. I'd watched him getting dropped a lot by Savon in the build up, so I'd visualized it a lot. And
had you watched tapes?
Yeah, I have a massive board, whiteboard, which I write stuff on, and on there I've written like pros and cons, like what he's good and bad at. I've got like my morning routine on one side, other stuff and whatever. And then I've got Savon times 2 watching both fights, because he gets dropped in both fights. So I've watched both those fights numerous times through camps. Because Lawrence has been made into this unbeatable person because he never looked close to getting beat, which you've got to give him respect for and know his strengths, which I do because I've been in the ring with him plenty of times. But you can't make him this unbeatable person. So you've got to humanize him by looking at both, the best and worst of him. Because that's what you obviously, the key is to do what Savon did. And then also see how Savon landed those shots. And he lands a sort of a lift right hand, and then Lawrence is literally going away like that, exactly the same position he was in when I dropped him. So yeah, it's like people, when they're uncomfortable, when they sort of have to fight out of themselves, they'll always fall back into those bad habits. So looking for those little rhythms and things you can gain from people. So yeah, that was sort of, my feeling was very calm because I'd visualized it and I've seen him dropped before as an amateur. Obviously against one of the best amateurs of all time in Erislandy Savon, but still. So I was weirdly calm. I think that's why I just delayed all my emotion and feeling for that moment of Van den Nieuw at the end, because then it just all comes out. Even after the fight, like when the bell goes, I'm like, I think I've done this. Like, because I'm not really thinking, yeah, I've won that round. I'm not just focused solely on the performance. I'm not thinking, yeah, he's had this many points taken off, I've dropped him. I'm like, I think I've like won that. And I'm like half smiling, like, yeah. And then like, I'm like, okay, like, let's go and address the crowd and soak up the atmosphere regardless of the result. So I went and stand on the corner post and like, I need to soak this in because this is a memory for forever. Even if I think I've won and they stitch me up, I still need to appreciate this moment now. And then obviously they read out the scorecards, and I think that's when all that emotion throughout the fight, the build up and that sort of atmosphere sort of contained until then. And then I just let it all out in that in that moment.
So then you get announced and you're in the ring and you've had this moment. And I always remember Tyson Fury saying it, and Darren Barker saying it to an extent when we had him in here, that like he actually felt, Tyson Fury anyway, felt like a bit of sadness at that point, because he was like, this is my Everest, this is the pinnacle. And instantly, even in that moment of pure joy when he beating Klitschko and whatnot, the big upset, and he's a heavyweight champion of the world, he was like, fuck, like I've kind of done it now. What do I do now? Did you have any moment like that? Was there any moment where you were like, fuck me, this is the I've peaked? Or was it just pure joy? Because I know you sort of think about these things. What did you have any of those? No, that little devil on the shoulder at any point?
Not on the night.
No,
because I think I've just like you in your head, you're like knew you were going to do it, but you don't know until it's done. And you prepared for yourself to do it. You don't prepare to lose that fight. But on the night or anything like that, I didn't ever feel like, oh no, now what? Like, this is peak. But like, I'm aware of it. And I even said that in the build-up. I said, there's never going to be more pressure on me than this fight. There's never going to be more, like, there's never going to be nothing will be. And I said it in the ring. Like, Andy Scott asked me on Sky Sports after, like, how do you top this? And I was like, I don't, like, which is fine.
Thanks,
but like, like, I don't top this. Like, in that moment, I didn't think it could be topped, and I still don't think it will, because it's the first. Anything that has that novelty of being the first is always going to feel sort of special in its own kind of way. But when it's like, there's obviously other goals for me. There's unification, there's Undisputed, there's Vegas, like all these things. There's monetary goals as well now, got family. So there's new pressures and new motivations. And yeah, that's sort of, I never felt sad that was it. I think maybe since I might have done a couple of times, like in the, like, you just feel like I think you realize that the journey is important, is the most important thing. And it's, as horrible as it is, it's almost enjoyable because you've always got something to strive towards. But I feel like I've still got stuff to strive towards. So I think in that sense, that keeps me, very motivated. Like, for me, if I lost my next fight, I'm just a flash in the pan. And, you know, I've had 3 good fights down in Bournemouth, but really there's no legacy, if you want to call it. Like, you know, people aren't going to remember me like they remember George or anything like that. They might not do that anyway, but that's my goal, is to build a bit more of a legacy, and because stuff comes off the back of it, next jobs and things like that. So I don't want to be a flash in the pan. So that's my motivation at the moment. And I think if I were to go and just rest on my laurels and box terrible and lose my next fight, then that's what all I'd be. And I'm very wary of that. So yeah.
I guess the difference for you is like, not many people get that moment that early on. Like, it was your first world title fight, etc. Like you, Bramwell Lane and Wembley and whatnot. It was far further down the career, and you've had it kind of first to this kind of box ticked early doors, as opposed to like always just hoping to do it like Bellew, always hoping to do it towards the end. Yeah, you've done it early doors.
Yeah. I mean, in sense of it's my first world title shot. You know, I lost earlier on in my career to a split decision. I don't feel like I've had, when it comes to actual fights in my career, I don't feel like it's been a roller coaster ride. In training in camps, it has, because you have bad performances or bad camps and stuff like that, but still managed to find the wins. And most of the time, other than the McCarthy fight, then, you know, since the Riakporhe fight, then most of the time very comfortably I've been either wide points winner, or I've stopped them. So it's, other than that McCarthy fight, which was a good lesson for me. But yeah, so it's almost been like a steady rise, which I'm very fortunate about. I'm just grateful that I have achieved what I've achieved and had that night, rather than think, oh, well, now what? Like, it's like, well, you've just achieved, you've got to appreciate what you've just done. And because not many people in the world get to achieve that level of their dream, it being the way I did it, even who it was against. I wanted to box Lawrence as an amateur. You know, back in 2016, he was number 1 in the ABAs, seeded, and I was going in the ABAs. And I was like, well, he's number 1, that's who I want to fight. Then he qualified for Rio, so they took him out the ABAs. And I was like, well, I'm not going to get to fight him. I reached the final that year and lost to Chev. And then turned pro, and he's like becomes number 1 in Britain, British champion. And I'm like, okay, well, that's I'm not there yet, but that's the level I want to get to. And it's almost like someone was always, I'm not very spiritual or anything, but it's like someone was always pulling strings. So I don't fight Lawrence, because then he joins the gym. But then I finally get to fight him for the biggest prize in my weight division, you know, for a world title. So it's like I've been held back from fighting him as an amateur, a low-level pro, a mid-level pro, up till I got to the very best stage. And before all those other occasions, I probably wasn't ready to fight him and ready to beat him. Whereas this time I knew I was. So yeah, it feels very like the timing was perfect, and feels like everything fell into place.
How much do you think like that benefited you? Because I don't know, because I haven't asked him, but he probably never looked at you the way you looked at him. Certainly in the early days, when he's number 1 ABS, then he goes to Olympics, he's thinking about Savon, and he's not thinking about you.
Yeah.
And the other way, and conversely, then in Change Gym, the same. He's the bigger name, so he's thinking Bradis, whatever else, and you're thinking, always looking at Okolie. And I remember,
well, I wasn't when he was in the gym.
No, but you're thinking that's the level. We all know here that he's the world challenger at this point. And then in the fight week, I remember him saying, you know, I built him up to be a killer, but I got here and he's just Chris. Like, how much do you think how you viewed him and what he represented was the key to winning? And in the same breath, he's like, oh shit, it's just Chris. Like, no, fuck, like, what do I do now?
Before, the last time I sparred him, when he'd come from another gym and joined Shane on a trial week, I sparred him, and I'm sure he'll admit it, and I bashed him up. So and then after that spar, he was like, what happened? He's like, I just put you in a category of like domestic, like English
really?
title.
He said
No, he said it. Yeah, and he said it in interviews and stuff before. He's like, I just had him in a category of like the domestic fighters that weren't going to reach world level before he sparred me. And then he sparred me, and we pushed each other on, and we learned so much. And that's what I said to him in the ring after. He said, look at this. He goes, look what you've created. I was like, well, we've done this like together. I was like, and we've both helped each other get to this level from the hundreds of rounds of sparring, pushing each other all the time. I said, and that's quite a special thing, especially when you just shared 12 rounds with someone. But yeah, and I think, that was a big factor of the way maybe we viewed each other. But he took his eye off the ball a bit with that in terms of the way he saw me. But yeah, he obviously like I said, I'd improved a lot since he'd left the gym. I'd had the Chamberlain fight, which is a huge learning curve for me. 12 rounds, short camp, headlining in Bournemouth. I'd had the Tom McCarthy second fight where I'd had to sort of right some wrongs from the first fight, the Zhou knockout. So there's lots of things that I'd learned in the time he'd left the gym. I just knew how good he can be. So that's what we were preparing for. Well, maybe he was preparing for I think I'd sparred the best version of Lawrence, but he hadn't sparred the best version of me. So I think that was probably the best way to look at it.
You end up taking comfort from knowing someone in the area, almost down to the point of he's going to do this because we know him. Like this is what's going to be difficult for him. This is where he's going to unravel. Fascinating.
And also some of the things he said in the build-up, like Shane knows what I'm like on fight night. Like, he knows when it's time to fight, which I disagree with because I'm that person. I know I'm that person. I know when it's fight night, and I'm zoned in and nothing gets in the way. Whereas I think a lot of the time he spars better than he fights sometimes, in that sense. And, he's been in a lot of fights which aren't that appealing. Whereas, I've always got through any rough patches in fights where he doesn't allow rough patches, which is fair enough. But that's because he's just holding and being ugly and that sort of thing. Whereas, and I think what I had on all his other opponents was that experience of dealing with the holding, the clinching. And I think that was vital.
What happens after the fight? Because fight, as we know, it's sometimes it's not. It's totally different to what you expect.
You're just back in the changing room.
Yeah.
Like what happened?
Yeah. So obviously, take us right the way through. Like what happens after the fight to the point where you go home and you got your tiny, baby indoors, and then your dad again. You come crashing back down to earth. And they keep you humble.
It was very much like that. I mean, like I said, I had to walk back to change room, get in the change room. My last two fights, all the media have been in my change room. But I walked in there and no one was in there, so I was expecting I think all the media were following me. I love that opening the door, like, and there's just like an empty home football change room, which was, So I just went and sat down, and then obviously all the media flood in, family, you come in, team members come in. Kell Brook was in there. Like, there's so many, I remember watching Kell Brook win his world title and then lose it the same night George won his. So, you got all these, people I used to love watching, like George and Kell Brook in your change room and people like that. So it's a bit of a weird one. Like Kell Brook's putting me on his Snapchat story and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is a bit weird. Because, like I said, like
didn't call you out, did he?
I don't think he'd fancy that.
I did middleweight against Golovkin.
Yeah.
I rule it out.
So then go and get stitched up first.
How many stitches did you have?
So I had 6 internal, 13 external. So I had like a little cut here on the side of my eye, and then a longer one through it, and then I think I had another little one in my eyebrow as well. So I think I actually had 3 cuts.
They did that in the changing room? You didn't have to go
No, so you have like a medical room. So I'm in the medical room in the stadium.
Yeah.
But it's like this tiny little, they just shove a couch in there, and then there's like a little table to the side. Like it's not, I mean, it's like that at every venue. I hope not to use it most of the time, but I've had to add a few cuts now, head clashes and whatnot. And I'm in there, I'm just about to get stitched up, and 3 of the Bournemouth players and the chief exec from AFC Bournemouth walk in.
They get stitched up as well.
to come and congratulate me. They were fighting the Saints fans. No, they come in to congratulate me, which these are people who I'm as a kid, I wanted to play for AFC Bournemouth. So it's it's nice to have them come in, get stitched up, back to change room, press conference. So then you go to the press area, do the press conference. But like all the team had gone because I was like doing bits and pieces of it all over the place, and they like obviously like Shane had his fiance and their little one back at the hotel, and then they also don't just want to hang around; they want to get back there. So walk out the stadium. Fair play. There was these 2 fans outside. One had ripped a Bet365 poster off the wall with our faces on and got me to sign it. Been waiting there. It's half 2 in the morning. Like, fair play to him. I was like, that's a tenner, please. So I signed that for him. I was like, fair play for waiting. I appreciate it. And then got the cars are gone because Mia had sent the cars off because she had to relieve our babysitter at 2:00 in the morning. So she'd sent the cars back at 12:30. Like, I've got a car, for no worries. But then she's like, I've got to go. So we ended up getting a cab back to the hotel. Mia's home looking after the little one, and then go back to my hotel room.
Right, notice for any future world champion, do not book the babysitter.
Do an all-nighter.
Yeah, till 2:00. They need a lot longer. You can't piss once you're a champion.
You've got to keep them waiting. Get back to hotel room.
What sort of time is this?
About 2:30-ish.
Did you want to leave? I can imagine if that was me.
Just before I left, walking out, I went back in and just looked at it all again and just like,
job done.
Yeah, like
who we got on Saturday?
I was like, yeah, fair play to me. Took one last look. I think I was actually walking from the press conference back because like you walk through the concourse. I was like, this is phenomenal. Let's go and get my stuff, do my drug test and go. Yeah, get back to hotel. George, Shane, Jake, their partners are in the room. Me, Rob, Ben walk in. Ben's ordered Domino's. And then we just sat in the room and chilled and sort of just sat on my phone. Everyone's talking, really, not to me, just to each other. And
Candy Crush, mate.
I'm just
waits for no one.
I'm just on my phone, just obviously just reading messages and whatever, which is really nice. And then just munching my pizza. I think then obviously Rob wanted to do an interview about 4 a.m. So I did that, and then get a taxi home. On the taxi actually from the venue to the hotel, Rob insisted that the driver knew who I was. So he was like, he's just won a world title. And the bloke's like, cool. He's like, look. He's like, grabs the belt off me, opens the belt case. Like, look, he's like, that's a world title. And the bloke's like, well done. I could have been less bothered. I maybe he was trying to get a free taxi ride or something.
Lawrence Okolie fan, weren't
he? And then I get a taxi back from the hotel to, usually I'd stay at the hotel, but because Mia was at home with the baby and we had to fly the next morning, we had to be at the airport at 10 a.m. because we had my nutritionist wedding on the Monday, so we had to fly out there on the Sunday.
Inconsiderate of him.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't even their flight week for me. Where was he when I was throwing up and on the toilet all week, eh? He was actually on the other end of the phone, to be fair, whilst he's prepping for his wedding, helping me. So shout out James Moran. So I'd got home at 5:00, 5:30 in the morning. Mia had a text like, Frank's up, like, where are you? Come home now, we've got to catch a flight. Like, don't care if you're world champion, basically. You're still my husband, you're still his dad. Means nothing. Get home, she's like, I get into bed, she's like, are you going to be able to sleep? I'm like, no. She's like, take him then. So I take the little man. I've left the case in the kitchen. We're staying at her mother-in-law's house because we haven't moved into a new place at this point. So I'm staying at my mother-in-law's and take him into the front room, kitchen lounge. Open the belt and show him the belt, and he's got some pictures and videos of him with the belt, which is nice. He looked at it for about 5 seconds and then went and got something else, which is much more exciting.
More interesting in the box.
Yeah, pretty much. Probably went and got my guitar case, which he's obsessed with. And then
go get the guitar. Do you know any Kano?
Yeah, and then
that must have been an amazing moment. That's giving me a little lump in my throat there. You and your boy at 5 a.m. and
it's like about probably 5:45 in the morning at this point, and I've just won a world title 8 hours before or whatever. And
he has no idea what the score is.
He
like,
does not care. He's like, change my nappy now. But that's the nice thing about it. You don't want to get too high in terms of like thinking that you deserve more, and your 1-year-old son, 1-year-old and 1 day son should worship you differently. Like, he's like, no, you're still my dad. Change my nappy, give me a bottle, sort me out. Which was nice. And then I managed to sleep for an hour and a half.
And the missus as well. You're awake.
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm knackered.
Hold on.
To be fair to her, she'd packed all our bags for the holiday. We were up in, at this point, she'd had to be up in probably 2 hours' time. She'd probably about 2 hours sleep at this point. So she had to, and then she knew in the morning, it's like, right, I need to check I've got all our passports, all this. Because I didn't care. I literally ordered all my clothes online for this holiday. And just put them in the suitcase, in the packet still. Didn't try anything on.
Order them direct straight to where you're going.
Yeah, straight to Marbella for the wedding.
Just a through dark full pack.
Yeah, it was too. I mean, the through dark stuff's quite thick, so I needed a little bit lighter stuff.
Fleece swimmers.
Yeah, I couldn't have my through dark fleece out there. It was roasting hot. But no,
where was it? Marbella.
He was getting married out in Marbella, so flew out there. So got to the airport, got stopped like 10 times at the airport.
Which airport? Bournemouth.
Just Bournemouth Airport. Yeah. Thankfully, because I was
carrying drugs or something.
So many people asking for pictures, which was really nice, and I was like, "Oh, this is different." So it was a bit mad, to be honest. But
So what was that like? Like instantly going away for someone else's like occasion. Did you not want to sort of sit around and sort of see everyone and just talk it over, or was it good that you didn't do that and you still did it when you got back?
I think it was good in a way, because I think the week after that fight would have been mental in Bournemouth. Like if I'd gone out and about or gone for dinner with people and stuff, like I think you get hounded a lot more because it's a lot more all that recency bias of sort of getting noticed and stuff like that. So I think it helped in a way. And then I flew from Marbella to my mate's stag do in Barcelona. So I literally wasn't home.
So you were trying to keep a low profile.
Yeah. So I literally went away for like 8 days after the fight, like the Sunday to the Monday. And then, but it was always, I hadn't had any sleep, I hadn't processed anything, done an interview on a Sun Lounge or with Sky Sports News, you know what I mean? And then fly out and see my mates, and they're like, I haven't seen them since the fight, even though they all went to the after party, which I couldn't go to because I was too late.
Can't get in, mate. Sorry.
One in, one out.
Didn't have any idea. Didn't recognise me because I had about 25 stitches. No, and then so like first time I see them is at the stag do, like in Barcelona, like would have been 6 days after the fight. So it's good to see all them. They're like, congratulations, and that, but we're not here for you. So.
What about stealing thunder? It's like you turned up at a wedding.
Well, to be fair,
did you have your robe on? Did you walk out into the breakfast with arms out?
Not quite. Like, everyone was like, "Oh, we watched it in the bar on the weekend," because the wedding was on the Monday. So on the Sunday, I saw them Sunday night, and they were like, "Oh, we watched it last night. Like, congratulations and stuff." Didn't know any of these people really, because it's my nutritionist who's not from Bournemouth. So,
that's handy.
I just but they all knew me because they'd watched me on TV. But it was nice. It was, and then he even gave me like a little, mention in his speech for like going out there off the back of the win and stuff, and which was nice. He definitely didn't have to do that on his day. Do you know what I mean? But no, I definitely didn't feel like I was stealing anyone's thunder. I mean, went home pretty early from the wedding because I still hadn't had any proper sleep. I probably had about 5 hours sleep in 2 nights. So I went home early and sort of just rested and tried to enjoy the rest of the week over there with them in Marbella, and recovered. But so that was a mental week from winning the world title to flying out to wedding to stag to home, and then and then I got home on the Monday, and on the Tuesday I had 8 interviews to do in London and just got scooted around London for different interviews. So
I just wanted to ask if you've spoken to Lawrence, because he was obviously unbelievably kind of gracious in defeat, famously so. Have you spoken to him since? Like, you gave the belt back, but you didn't have to do that, did you? Have you spoken to him and chatted to him? He's kind of gone missing a bit since the fight.
Yeah, he texts me the day after and said congratulations, and he's obviously got a new number because I got it saved, but I obviously knew who it was. Congratulations, like, you know, I'm other than the eye, because he had a cut eye as well. He's like, I'm really happy for you and your family and stuff. So yeah, it was, and I just text back saying thanks. You know,
Who is this?
New number, who dis?
Who dis? No, and yeah, I think he needs to be commended for the way he dealt with the defeat. I think he took it really well. It was superb, and not enough credits given in those situations. People always talk about like sore losers and stuff like that, but they never talk about good losers. And you don't want to be a good loser, but you know what I mean, like someone who can be so gracious in defeat. And I thought he done really, really well with that.
He did.
Are you ready then? Have you got your feature hats on? I'll tell you what, let's have a break and you can put your hats on.
Cool.
Yeah, because it's the best one we've ever done. It actually is, so I thought we'd save the best one for this one. George, remind me again, how I become an elite club member?
Well, get a GGBC cap.
Done. What else?
Well, you could wear the hoodie.
Anything else?
Well, have you got a water bottle?
Anything else?
You could get a print for the wall.
It's cost me a fortune. Anything else?
Well, this is what it takes to be elite, Deck.
Does that mean I'm in the club now?
Nearly. One last thing. Just hit the follow button in your podcast app. Welcome to the club, Deck.
Oh, we'll have a push and a pull, mate. Regular listeners of the GGBC will know that on your first visit to the club, can you remember how you did? It was you against you.
I think we drew.
There's the regular listener. You drew. It was a draw. And that feature was called CBS, which stood for correct or bullshit. It was basically true or false. Can you remember that?
I'll come up with you. What's your CBS?
Consistency builds success.
Yeah, yours is good.
Ugh. Can't be stopped.
Can't be stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better. Like, that's what I mean.
I had that
Bit
before.
Roy Jones, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can't be stopped, can't be... that tune.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right,
Anyway.
it's been done. I'll come up with something else.
So we've gone... Anyway, it's
Can't
correct
be
or
shat
bullshit.
on.
It's correct or bullshit again.
Right.
Correct or bullshit part 2 with a twist. All of these questions, they're essentially true or false, correct or bullshit questions, are about people's first offence for which you're currently preparing. First offence if you want title.
I'm glad it's not a word smash, not going to lie.
Yeah, it's not a word smash.
I'm great on the word smash. When I play at home...
When you have a hat-trick, you come a hat-trick appearance, you get the match ball.
I get to design the quiz.
And you get a word smash.
You can quiz me in that.
You can do a word smash. Right, so there's 10 questions. I thought it'd be good if you drew again, so I wanted to make it even just so we can hang, so it might be 2 draws in a row, like Badu Jack and fucking everyone else he boxes. Right. Do you want to go first or second, Chris, as the guest? Although you're part
As
of the furniture now. As the champ, yeah.
Oh, man, I'll go second. I'll walk second. No?
Nice. I like
Brutal.
it. Right, it's a good one. There's a couple of easy ones. There's a couple of dodgy ones, yeah? George. Roy Jones Jr. won his first... Heard of him? Won his first world title by outpointing Bernard Hopkins to claim the IBF middleweight title.
No way, is it?
On May 22nd, 1993.
Who did he fight in his first defence?
His first defence came just 84 days later, and he stopped Sugar Boy Malinga inside 6.
Ah.
Is that correct?
Was it Sugar Boy Malinga?
Is that correct or bullshit?
He boxed.
Hopkins, I thought he went... Was it Hopkins Tony? But it wouldn't have been 86 days later. It's bullshit.
It's correct.
Is it 86 days later? Yeah.
That was in the August of 1993. Sugar Boy Malinga, Talangi Malinga in the 6th round after 157. So that's a bad start. Good start for you.
I usually have a bad start.
Well, it's not. It's only good if I get my question.
Yeah, true. Spoken like a true champion. Shannon Briggs became the lineal heavyweight champion by defeating George Foreman via majority decision on November 22nd, 1997, but was beaten in his first defence when Lennox Lewis beat him in just 1 round 4 months later. Is that correct or bullshit?
That's BS.
Pourquoi? Why?
Because he didn't stop him in a round.
Stopped him in 5th. It's bullshit.
Yeah,
Well
I was going
done.
to say the 5th.
1-0.
Should have
Bosh.
said that. Should have got a bonus.
Yeah, you should have got a bonus point. Here we go, George. It's another one, your era.
Yep.
Crawley middleweight Alan Minter, RIP, won the world middleweight title when he claimed a split decision after 15 rounds with Vito Antuofermo in March 1980, but lost it in the immediate rematch with the Italian just 3 months later. Is that correct or bullshit? So Minter wins.
I thought he lost it to Hagler. He was Hagler last time round, wasn't it? He was 1980. He lost to Hagler. So it's bullshit.
Yes, he stopped Antuofermo in the rematch, but then lost it to Hagler in the second defence.
That was when the rule came in after the Hagler fight that they had to tie the chairs together. So I didn't know about this until I started working on Steve Bendel's shows with him. And all the chairs have to be tied together with cable ties. And I've assumed that rule was coming since that fight because everyone's chucking chairs from the mint.
Because you can they're always tied together.
Yeah, they're tied together with cable ties.
I would have given you a bonus point for that, but then you backtracked and said you're assuming. No, I can't give you a point for assumptions in this game. Anyway, you got your back on the board.
I got Hagler
George.
the same year. I should definitely get a bonus point.
Nah, but you get bullshit. It's correct. Right, Chris, to go 2-1 up. Ricky Hatton won his first world title when he famously beat Costa Zoo at the Manchester Arena in June 2005.
June the 4th.
June the 4th, lovely. No bonus point. In his first defence, he unified against Carlos Mauser via a 9th round stoppage in Sheffield.
That is BS because he boxed Mauser before that fight, didn't he?
It's correct.
Is it?
correct.
I thought Mauser was.
Yeah, see, I thought
he
this,
was useless.
when you put all those little dates together, the Hatton dates, it's very easy to get them mixed up. Mouse was the first defence in Sheffield.
Was it?
Yep.
Who was after Mauser then?
Then it would have. I would tell you if I had some internet connection. Lascano? No, that was after thingy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Anyway.
have you seen the Hatton doc, by the way? Have you seen
Not yet.
Fucking great.
Yeah, we were going to start watching it last night, but George's.
Yeah.
I stayed at George's last night, but his TV wasn't downloading it.
I won't spoil it, but he does lose to
football.
Did you?
George is well happy about it.
Yeah.
He loses to Manny Pacquiao in the end.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that for free. Yeah,
I'll watch
Collazo.
it now then.
Actually, Collazo was the one after Mauser, and that was when he'd moved up. Right, so what's the score there? Fuck knows, who cares?
It's 1-1.
It's 1-1.
Is it? 1-0, okay.
It's all to play for.
Staying in Manchester, George. Amir Khan won the first of his world light welterweight titles via a 12-round decision over Andrei Kotelnik at the Manchester Evening News Arena, as it was then named. Yeah. 5 months later, he made the first defence.
Salita, 1 round.
Now his promoter, and Khan won in just 46 seconds.
46 seconds?
Correct or bullshit?
Yeah, it was. It was that quick.
Bullshit, it was 76. Do you know what?
Stitch you up.
Because when you came in, I changed the question.
It was just going to be 1 round.
Yeah, and then, unlucky, mate. Yeah, no, it's 76 seconds. Give Salita some credit, mate. He made it for a minute. Okay, so that's still 1-1.
That's savage.
Yeah, Chris, now you can pull ahead. The first of Floyd Mayweather's many world titles came via a famous win against Gennaro Hernandez in October of 1998. However, he never had a first defence of that belt, as he vacated the super featherweight title almost immediately in order to move straight up and campaign at lightweight. Is that correct or bullshit?
I'll go correct.
Bullshit. He made 9 defences of the super featherweight
I
title.
thought he was. I didn't.
Yeah, that's what it struck me. It surprised me.
Wow.
Lightweight Mayweather was a fucking phenomenal money.
That's
maybe.
I was only 8.
Yeah,
leave it out.
Yeah,
didn't even know what boxing was then.
Yeah.
Is that
Who's
1-1
Mayweather?
still?
I've never heard of him.
Right, here we go. Here's one. Muhammad Ali. This is for you, George. Heard of him? Muhammad Ali beat another George, everyone's second favourite George Foreman, in the Rumble in the Jungle to win the WBA and WBC heavyweight titles in October 1974. In his first defence, 5 months later, he was dropped by Chuck Wepner, but won a UD over 15 rounds. Correct or bullshit?
Chuck Wepner, eh?
Did Chuck Wepner drop Muhammad Ali? It's the question on everyone's lips.
Yeah, correct.
Correct? It's correct. It's correct. Well done. 2-1.
You just knew that fact.
Yeah.
That's really
Thank
good.
you. I pulled that out of the locker. Now, this is a good one for you, Chris. Cruiserweights. One of the best ever. Evander Holyfield lost the world heavyweight title when he was beaten by Riddick Bowe in November 1992, but regained them 12 months later in the rematch. However, in his first defence, he was stopped by Michael Moorer after 1 minute 36 of round 10.
What's the date?
A year later, he won them back by beating Riddick Bowe, and then he had his first defence was against Michael Moorer, and he was stopped by him in 1:36 of round 10.
Sorry, what year was the Bowe fight?
1992. Then
yeah.
12 months later, 1993, November 1993, he won the belts back in his first defence, therefore in 1994. Michael Moorer stopped him in 1:36 of round 10.
Correct.
It's bullshit. It was a majority decision. Did Holyfield ever get stopped?
No, yeah.
No, apart from getting his ear bitten off.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
I thought that was an open goal.
I was thinking he definitely lost to Moorer.
Yeah.
That's all I was thinking. I was thinking,
So you could win, you could pull ahead 3-1 here and win it because this is the final two questions.
Tell me.
Chris Billam Smith
That's me.
won the Commonwealth title via a 12-round split decision. I've got to make sure this is right now because you'll be all over it.
That's wrong.
Via a 12-round split decision.
Wrong.
The Commonwealth title.
What? I didn't win it. I stopped Greg Glover in 5 rounds. So, void question. I win bonus point to all.
Bullshit. This is the correct or bullshit. Is that true?
Give us a
I
Chris.
stopped Craig Glover in
Wait.
in 5 rounds.
Okay, let's just hold it there because BoxRec is BoxRec
Don't
must
play
be wrong.
BoxRec.
I am. I've got to tell because I use them every day. So the Commonwealth title. Oh, you fucking beat. Hold on a sec. That was the Commonwealth Boxing Council.
Yeah, which is
The same one. Okay, yeah. The question's void. And the same with the British. Oh, the EBU. Did you beat McCarthy for the EBU?
Yeah.
Okay. Start the question again.
Yeah.
Don't edit it. So, in the first defence of the EBU title, Chris Billam Smith stopped Dylan Breguillon in the 11th round. Is that correct or bullshit?
11th round.
Yep. The first defence of the EBU title.
Nah. No. That was...
Is that correct or bullshit?
Is that the one you boxed in Bournemouth?
Is that C or BS?
I don't know any of their names, but he stopped someone in Bournemouth and he knocked him the fuck out. But it wasn't the 11th round. It was earlier than that. That's bullshit. Is it not? No?
It is bullshit.
but for the wrong reasons.
But it's bullshit because why, Chris?
Because I beat him on points.
You beat Big Dylan.
And that was after the McCarthy
McCarthy
fight. And then
So
I rematched
you won the British title against McCarthy.
Yeah, and the European.
Did you ever defend the British title?
No, they stripped me.
Bastards.
Because it was either fight... It was basically give up the European or the British. And obviously European, you get a sort of world ranking.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Well,
gutted about that.
That's
because-
3-1 because you nicked in there. Go on.
Yeah, go on then. Give me the last question anyway.
Yeah, you'll get this one. This is because it's about you, George. George Groves won the world super middleweight title at the 4th time of asking by
True.
stopping Fedor Chudinov at Bramall Lane.
I was there.
But he doesn't go on about it.
I was there.
You were here as well. His
was.
first defence, which came 5 months later, lasted just 3 rounds. Correct or bullshit?
That is BS because it was the 4th round.
Yes.
The right hook to the body.
Jamie Cox, you were there, weren't you? 'Cause
Wembley Arena, October 14th.
Was that your debut?
No, it's my second fight. I was on at 5:45.
Yeah.
The doors weren't even open. As I ring walked to no music with my opponent at the same time. Walked to the ring. I was like, oh, no one's here. And then all my crowds started coming in. Basically, I found out after they pushed past security because they knew I was in the ring. They could hear the names being announced. And all I was thinking as I was looking at my opponent was like, I need to get their money back.
Yeah.
Alexander Todorov.
Yes.
Todorovic.
Future world champion.
Yeah.
5:15 they got him on.
Yeah.
5:45, yeah.
5:45.
What happened in that fight?
Stopped him in about a minute and a half.
It was about 2:43.
Oh, was it?
Do
Oh,
you know who the ref was?
George's mate, wasn't it?
George's mate, Howard Foster.
Premature
Lovely.
stoppage.
Well, jumped in too early.
He'd never been.
He climbed off the floor in that fight.
Yeah,
as well.
Todorovic.
He went 8 rounds with
Who had Foster?
Odlania Solis.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, heavyweight.
And you did the
Did him
business
in
inside
less
round.
than 3 minutes.
Softened him up.
Boom.
Well, you're the winner, George. Unlucky, Chris. That means you're now the WBO cruiserweight champion of the world. Congratulations.
Yeah, correct or bullshit.
Yeah. Bullshit. Ask
You ain't making
WBO.
cruiser.
Give him 8 weeks.
Well, Vegas.
Yeah, I do want to
what's
fight
the route?
Vegas.
What's the route to Vegas?
I don't know.
'Cause that's
but
exciting
it's
because we'd
gonna
do a
happen.
full-blown road trip there, wouldn't we?
Yeah. GGBC on tour.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
vlog.
yeah.
Get all the names.
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather be on the pod.
Yeah. He's asked a couple of times. But
Yeah, we've knocked him back.
yeah. Doesn't
Um,
like East London.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know what the route is to Vegas, but I'm confident in it. You know, it'll find its way. Never thought there was never really a route to the stadium in terms of who I was going to fight or whatever, and building the fan base. We sort of did the Chamberlain fight, and then it just snowballed off of that. With obviously always having that talk in mind of the stadium, but yeah, my whole career I've never really had a route plan. I've just sort of taken fights. There's plenty of people to fight, and there's when you're champion, you obviously can have challengers and other belts to chase. Yeah, I'm hoping there'll be a big enough name in Vegas. But AFC Bournemouth have got Bill Foley, who owns the Las Vegas Knights as well, the ice hockey team. So there's a little connection there. So maybe we could do a little AFCB on tour. Maybe they'll be out in Vegas doing their pre-season next year, and I can squeeze in a fight out there at the same time. So there's little links,
options.
but yeah,
Great hockey.
Yeah.
yeah, do it on the
They're
ice rink.
fighting there all the time.
They yeah,
They're
they
battling
are.
each
They
other.
are.
See
Yeah.
some coaching.
Ice hockey's
Yeah.
mental. That's crazy sport. Like, I need to properly. I've never properly been to a game or properly watched it, but you just see like little clips now and again of them just like grabbing each other. I think they have to hold one hand and just
That's the rules.
like as soon as
Like
they're on the
Lawrence
floor.
Okolie.
Sounds like a Okolie,
Got you a split second there.
yeah.
You wanted
Look, boys, I know all about this. I know how to defeat them.
Yeah. It's everything, isn't it?
Job done, mate.
Brilliant, Chris. Thank you. Our very first repeat offender comes in with his world
With his world belt, yeah.
just without the belt.
I mean, obviously,
But
the club
you've got the belt.
we're famous for delivering dreams, really, aren't we?
We are.
So this is the living proof. And actually, we could probably cut this up. Remember in our Christmas, our end of year review, we had to predict one person who wasn't a world champion who would end this year as the world champion. I picked you. Can't remember who the fuck you said. Shakur Stevenson or something, which was right, I think. But I pulled you out.
He was world champion last year, though.
He was, yeah. So, but
I don't even remember that question.
I predicted you. Well, I
Have you
do,
recorded
'cause
that this morning?
Yeah. I did say it was going to be against Opataya though, but it's fine. You can't win them all. Who knows?
Thanks for your belief, Deck, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
pleasure. Done.